Hey, star babies. It's July 5th around 2 p.m. and I just woke up from a really messed up nappy dream, like a nap where I was dreaming really intensely. Um, I was in my own apartment, which seemed to be like 10 times the size of this place or more. It was beautiful. Like I was in that apartment the entire time and like looking at the corners, the walls, the wall color, the carpeting, the hardwood floors. I was like organizing the place, and then each room I went to, there was like a pocket dimension that I was experiencing of life, of different families, of different relatives. And there was one part of the house towards the back where the windows were facing this beautiful ocean, and there was a balcony patio that was like with a back door that would lead to it. But back there were 5 people. I think it was 5 people sitting at like a judge's table. You know how they do those, like, where they hold something up and they're like 10-10, 9-10, or 8 out of 10, like for those Olympic scores. There were 5 people there, and 3 of them eventually, like, were pleased or something, and then they left towards the end of the dream. But there were 2 that were still sitting there. And I remember them vividly. One of them looked like a old Aztec kind of, I don't want to say Hispanic, but he looked Hispanic, like dark brown skin, very like ancient looking person. I don't know how else to describe it. He didn't look like anybody I would run into on the street in the modern world, like in the year 2021. But if it was like, I don't know, sometime between hobbits and dwarves or something, like he would have been there. He was about this tall, maybe like 5'5", 5'4", bald, and he had hair around his ears, like ear line, going around his head, but the top of his head was bald, like a monk. He was wearing a very dirty gray shirt, and he was actually the height of what you would consider a 6 or 7-year-old girl. And I say this because towards the end of the dream, and this is what God has been kicking my ass since I've been up to tell you, I asked this person and the person next to him, which was a mid-20s to 30s, looked very mixed between Hispanic, maybe a little bit of white, but also like Asian. Like the features were very sharp, very beautiful, very sharp, very handsome, and very well mannered. He left, and the little one, little older man, I was like, "You need to leave. I'm about to wake up." And he's like, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here and I'm watching what you're doing." And I'm like, "No, the fuck you're not. You're leaving." And he's like, "No, I'm not." And I like reached under the table and I grabbed him by his 2 little legs and I flung him into a fucking closet. And I walked away. Like I locked the closet door and I walked away to like walk towards myself as if I was walking towards me like this. And as soon as I was walking like this, a hand from this way pointed and said, "Look behind you." In the dream, I turned around watching myself in third person and go back, and this little dude came out of the closet chasing 2 little girls, running and running and running, and they were screaming for help, and I turned around and ran back towards them. I'm like, "What's going on?" And one of the girls looked at me. She's like, "Are you a good person? Tell me you're a good person. We need help." I'm like, "What's happening?" They're like, "This person's a pedophile." And I'm like, "Who?" And they pointed towards that little dude. And I ran towards him, grabbed him by the scruff of his hair, opened the back door, and flung him into the ocean. And I locked the door, and he came back again after the kids, looking through the window. And then I looked up at the sky, and I saw the clouds, and I turned all the clouds into angels to come down to guard the perimeter of the house, and that's when I woke up. So I don't know what's going on or who needs to hear what, but there's somebody around you guys who's not very kind to children. And that children aren't telling anybody because they're afraid they're going to get in trouble. And or that, you know, they can't trust who they're saying. They want to know who the good person is that they can go to tell, because at some point they thought he was a good person because he was in the house. I was sitting there looking with other good people. Be careful. I'm not fear-mongering. I'm just sharing the messages I'm being asked to share. So there's someone around you guys, or someone around someone you know, that children don't feel safe around, okay? You can leave it as simple as that. Just take care of the kids, please. Pretty please. And don't go around accusing anybody of anything, because I have no idea who this person was. It could have been an entity, it could have been an energy, like a traumatic experience somebody had from decades or lifetimes ago, because he didn't seem like he fit into this lifetime. So please talk to your children. Talk to your relatives. Talk to your relatives' children. Create a safe space for these children to openly communicate with you, like adults, like, you know, with an open heart. Make it known to them that they're safe. And I just saw in my mind's eye, when you tell these kids that they're safe, if one of them looks down to the left or to the right, that kid doesn't feel safe. If another one looks directly at you while you're telling them that they're always safe, and they seem like they're a little worried, that kid doesn't feel safe. If you tell somebody that they're safe and they immediately run and hug you, that kid does not feel safe. Take care of the kids. Do not make me cosmically bitch slap you guys in the astral for not taking care of your kids the way you're supposed to be. Someone in your environment is doing something, and it could be at a preschool, it could be like a person, a friend of the family, it could be someone in the family, I don't know. It could be a long ingrained traumatic experience passed down from a mother to a child, and the child's dealing with the karmic baggage. I don't know, but this dream really fucked with me today. Like, I woke up and the left side of my body is completely aching, and my left boob is so fucking tender. And which is telling me it has something to do with the feminine side of the family. Because the masculine side of my body, the right side, is like so much stronger feeling today, as if I'm carrying the weight, because the left side of me can't. Feels too tender. I couldn't even breathe when I woke up. I noticed when I woke up, I wasn't breathing in bed. I had to like sit up and like force myself to pull a deep breath in, because of how much I was like in shock in a way at this little fucking twerp that was like chasing these kids in the house I was living in. Ugh. I don't know what you guys have around you. Just please open your eyes.